Hello, hello, hello. I am going to give people a little time. I know this 9 o'clock time frame may not be the best. Hello. So I'm going to get started. Welcome to Business Builder Basics. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Business Builder Basics. We also have a Facebook business page and a group on Facebook under the same name. What we do here in this group, we're doing a 30-day Boss Up challenge. Basically, I have challenged people to come and join me for 30 days straight to learn about business topics and to put in effort every day towards building their business. And so I'm serving as a consultant, mentor, whatever capacity people need me in, whatever purpose this serves for an individual, that's what I'm here for. The first 20 minutes, I will provide content, just information, basically like educational things. After that 20-minute mark, then I open up for Q&A so that people can ask questions about the topic of the day or previous topics or just any specific business question they may have. So I like to say, welcome to the new viewers. For returning viewers, thank you for tuning in. Acknowledgements. I always want to acknowledge at least one business owner or entrepreneur at the beginning of these videos. And this evening, I've selected Gerald James of Oscore Construction. They provide commercial and residential construction, and the number for him is 301-807-6795, and he's located in the Washington metropolitan DC area. I'd like to send another shout out to Karina Neff of Maxi Maids. Please visit her 5-star cleaning service at maximaids.com. I really appreciated something that she did for me today, and I want to shout her out as much as possible. She provides more of the high-end cleaning services, and so they do a really great job, and she's a really, really special person. So shout out to Maxi Maids, Karina Neff. Let's do the goal check-in. Those of you that are a part of this 30-day challenge, you know that each evening we set a goal. And the goal for yesterday was to basically start pulling together your business plan, the rough draft version of it, basically. We have spent 5 days on the business plan, and now we're moving on because we're done with that. So tonight's topic actually is going to be about effective communication. And before we get into that, I just want to make sure you think about your goals that you set and if you've been meeting your goals. If you've been meeting your goals, kudos to you. Pat yourself on the back quickly and then get back to work because there's more. There's more that you have to do. So this will be day 9, I want to say, day 9. And for any of my returning people, another kudos because it's very difficult to stick with something and to do something every day, especially if it's not necessarily pleasurable. So I really, really have a lot of respect for the people that are even attempting to do this challenge. And if you have fallen off, don't have any shame in jumping back on. You can always get caught up. Hey, how are you? I'm sorry, the writing is so small. I'm using a new device now, which is why I have my glasses on. Hey, Teresa. Hey, I've seen quite a few people pass through. So, hello to everyone. So, we're talking about effective communication today. This topic was inspired by a situation that happened today. It reminded me of why effective communication is so important. It's so important. Today was the first day of filming for a project that we're working on, and it required, actors. It required being in multiple locations and shooting and doing takes and retakes and takes, and we it was a lot of moving parts, and it kind of got off track basically, because of, I guess, ineffective communication. I don't want to say poor communication, but ineffective communication. And when you have ineffective communication, it can cost you money. It can cost you money either by preventing you from making money, or it can cost you money because perhaps you're paying someone to do something, and if everything is not in working order, all things have not been communicated properly, then there will be the potential to waste time. And so communication is so important. There was a situation that involved me in a group chat as far as trying to confirm, where we were all going to meet since we were going to shoot multiple locations. And the person responded. I asked, were we going to meet at this particular location? And then somebody else asked a question after that, and then the person responded yes, right? So when I saw that yes, I thought automatically that was a yes to my question, but it was a yes to the other question. And what happened was it ended up making half of the team meet at one location because they had a certain understanding and they interpreted the same way that I did. Then you had the other half of the people at the other location because they interpreted the very same thing differently. So effective communication is so important. We're going to talk about that today. What is effective communication? Effective communication is when you are able to communicate something and get the job done as a result of communicating that thing. If you have communicated effectively, the receiver of the message, the receiver of the information is clear in what it is they're supposed to do, what they're supposed to know. So there's very little room for error when you are communicating effectively, because effective communication is thorough yet concise. It's definitive, not tentative. So you're sure about what it is you're communicating to the people. You're not brainstorming out loud with the people. You're doing that in your mind, but you're giving them the definitive decision about what you're trying to communicate, so you don't confuse people. You don't do things tentatively, like leave things up in the air and think that things will come together and pieces will fall where they may. I don't like to do business that way. And so when you're working with people and things happen, like I said, so the way to communicate better, we have to consider what our world has evolved to. We really don't do a lot of picking up a phone and actually like calling someone, like verbal communication. We live in a day and age now where everyone is texting. Everyone is, in a group chat or texting, and it can really be misconstrued. It can be confusion, basically. And that is exactly what happened today. And as a result of that miscommunication, in addition to another one about someone's supposed to do something and they were unable to do it, and they did not communicate that they were unable to do it, and so we had to do it at the last minute. I mean, the person, they had, their reasons for it, but nevertheless, it's not about not getting the job done. Sometimes it's about just communicating that you didn't get the job done. That way, whoever is in charge of the project, they can strategically like restructure things and figure out how to reassign tasks and make sure that things get done. It resulted in us losing about maybe 90 minutes of time that we could have been filming. And the one of the actors that were here, she had to go. She couldn't really stay a lot longer, so we ended up having to improvise with our script because we weren't going to be able to get her to come back another day, because it was really a favor that she even came to do this for me. So basically, you really have to be careful with that kind of thing, because it really got us off track. And by us having to switch things around and lose time, by the time we got to the end of the night, which was just about half an hour ago is when we finished up, we hadn't accomplished everything that we wanted to accomplish. Although it was definitely doable had everything gone how it should have gone. And so you waste time, you waste money, you lose productivity, and miscommunications can also make for negative interactions, negative feelings. Especially, I'll give another example of what I used to do, and I try to do it much less now. But using the group chats to communicate and having a certain style that you text, you may know what your tone is. You may know how you generally talk and how your texts come across. But if somebody else is not familiar with that, or they never get acclimated to that, then people may be taken aback. One thing that I do when I text, and keep this in mind next time you're looking at your text style, consider your text style. I text short phrases or one thought and send it, and then another one and send it, instead of like a long like paragraph in one text like some people do. And what ends up happening is when you send the text like that back to back, it keeps pushing them up for the receiver. So before they can even finish reading some of the ones that you sent, you're still firing along, and it gets frustrating. They get lost in it, and they begin to dread having text conversations with you. And so that's something that I do, and I try to keep that in mind. Another thing is, because I'm very goal oriented, when I am divvying out tasks or delegating responsibility, I'm pretty definitive, and I don't take a lot of time to actually put sugar on it. It won't be rude necessarily, but it might go something like this. The text might say, "Good morning." Let's say we're in a group chat. "Good morning. Hope everyone is well." And I might say, "John, today I need you to X, Y, and Z. Barbara, I need you to X, Y, and Z. Debbie, did you get this done? If not, I need you to do this." And it'll just be like directives, basically. It'll be directives. And a lot of people don't receive that well, especially depending on if they know you or they have issues with you. They're going to think in their mind, they're going to receive that message with the tone and the kind of things they have in mind about what they think you're thinking and how you're saying it. And so a lot of people don't like to feel like you're barking orders at them via text. Yes, I am very direct and straight to the point. So it's like, I have to say, I was nicknamed the text tyrant, basically. I'm a tyrant, and people who have never met each other, multiple people who have never met each other, they all know about my text style. And they know that a lot of times they leave a text conversation with me feeling like they probably want to slap me in the face. And I won't even necessarily, I won't be using profanity or anything. I won't even use exclamation points, but it might just be boom, boom, boom. And I'm on to the next because on my end, I'm looking at it like I have 20 other people who I have to talk to or communicate with so that they know what to do. Because if they don't know what to do, things don't get done, and I still have stuff I have to do. That's part of the life of a boss. Is actually, it is a job to assign other people jobs and make sure that people do their jobs. That's a job actually, and so I think effective communication really is looking at your style, looking at the feedback that you get from other people, and determining if that's working for you. If it's working for you, great. If it's not working for you or you would like for it to work better, then you need to really consider changing your style, softening the message. You might feel like, I don't need to do that. And you might not need to. I thought that for a long time. But what I really want is for people to feel like they're working with someone that respects them, that doesn't usurp their time, that takes that extra moment, just a couple of extra seconds to ask, how are you doing before you start questioning or just jumping into whatever it is that you want to talk about. So taking a moment to really think about how you're communicating is going to be critical in business. It's going to be critical in business. Hey, Lorinda, you got to ask Smileys, yeah, I need to do this, pretty please. Yeah, so, like now I'm reluctant. Now I'm very mindful. When I send a text, before I hit enter, I think about what is the main message that I'm trying to get across? How can I say it in the least amount of words and wait on it and sit on it? Wait to see if maybe they have something to say that might come through before you're sending off more. So it's like wait a moment. It's almost like the equivalent of listening. Being a good listener via text is just waiting for feedback or for someone else to have an opportunity. Because I text very fast. I text very fast and I do it with one thumb too. And people think that's crazy. They're like in awe at how fast I send messages. So being mindful that everybody else may not be like that. And they want to be able to, either respond to what you're saying, answer your questions before they get bombarded. So take a moment, think about, what you want to say, how to say it concisely, and to keep in mind that you're not dealing with the machine. You're dealing with a human being. You're dealing with a human being, and that means that they have things going on in their life, in their mind, in their heart that may put them in a position to be in a certain frame of mind where you simply acknowledging them and asking how their day was and actually wanting to know and not just saying it as a formality, just that little bit of extra time can really help you develop a better rapport with the people that you work with. And now that you've actually shown that you acknowledge this is a human being that you're dealing with, they might be more receptive to whatever comes after you have acknowledged them as a human being. And so I think that it's very important to learn this, and when you do this, it really helps create that synergy that we talked about several days ago. That way of collaborating with other people that ends up making your end product better than what it would have been had you not collaborated with that person. So effective communication with the text messaging, just be careful. Be careful with that because it can really, it can work that way in personal relationships and everything. So we're concerned with business here, but this can apply to your personal life. And if you know that you have a way of communicating with people that is brash or people are often taken aback, then make some adjustments if you want a different result. If you're good with how you do things, hey, I'm not saying that you should change. I'm only here to, encourage the people that are trying to figure out how to do something different, basically. So I know I'm interested in trying to do something different because I ran a business for nearly 13 years trying to figure out why can I get the best performance out of people. And I know that it was not all my responsibility or my fault, but were there things I could do better or could have done better by way of communication, professionalism, treating people like human beings? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm here to tell you that when you're in a position to be a boss, there's a lot of confidence and power that comes with that, and you may not understand that when you're dealing with other people, especially if you're employing them. There, a lot of people might be intimidated, and so you have to just take a moment to soften things for people so that you don't scare them off. You know, we are in a sensitive world now, and everybody needs hugs first. I'm just like, so if I have 100 employees and I have to give out 100 hugs, let's see, to hug somebody, that's about 10 seconds. If I have to do that 100 times, then that's, you start doing the math, and you're like, I don't have time for that. But I really think that you have to recognize the world we're living in now. We have to acknowledge the needs of the millennials. And the millennials, I was right on the cuff, but I'm not a millennial. But the millennials, they need extra encouragement. They need to be congratulated more. They need to be told they're doing a good job, encouraged. Hey, Teresa. That everyone does for the most part, but I've noticed that in board meetings that I've been in and professional organizations that I've joined, people at every level are talking about the same issue with the workforce and noticing trends with millennials. Not to say that there aren't any issues with baby boomers, Generation X, and all of that, but the point is, to get the best out of people, you have to give more. You have to give a little more of yourself by way of communication and go that extra mile to do things that you may not feel like you should have to do. You must evolve. If you don't evolve with your business and with the changing times, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Hello, Carletta. And so that's text communication. Verbal communication is very important. I mean, there is a way. Somebody showed me something. It was Claire Huxtable. It was a Claire Huxtable clip where she straightened out somebody. She told them off, but it was so professional how she did it. But she still told them off. So some people have this idea that because they didn't curse, because they didn't yell, because they didn't say anything blatantly disrespectful, that there was nothing wrong with their communication. They're one of those people that's like, what? What'd I say? What? What's the problem? It's important to really pay attention to what you're saying, because you have to consider the receiver of the message. And if you're saying things to a person who's not in a position to receive those things, then you must be ready for what you're going to get back, basically. So your tone, your volume, your word choices, just the inflection in your voice. Are you talking at a person? Are you posing questions? Are you making statements and declarations? Those are the kind of things you have to think about when you're communicating verbally as well. And proximity to the person when you're speaking to them. Not talking too fast. Not having a flight of ideas where you're just okay, you got that? And it's just they're Um, yeah. And then they go about their business and they don't do hardly anything that you ask them to do because they don't know what you said, but they're too intimidated to ask you to say it again. Something that simple. Slow down, you know, and also consider the receiver as far as their level of vocabulary. Because believe it or not, a lot of people I've seen that don't have great vocabulary, they're taken aback sometimes if you use big words or words they don't really know or understand. And it's kind of rude, actually. I'm not saying that you should level down. You should, level down, like for real level down. But do you need to bring things down so that your audience understands your message? Absolutely. You're not really truly bringing yourself down, but you are tweaking the message in a way that the receiver can receive. And some people think that it's condescending and rude to use a lot of, language that they just simply don't understand. And so those are things to consider when communicating with people. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is equally as important because I can be saying one thing and then my eyes, my body, my posture be saying something totally different. So I could say, hey, welcome to Business Builder Basics. Thank you for coming out today. We just want to talk about communication today. I'm so happy to be talking to you all about communication because it's really important. I mean, look at me. You can't take me seriously right now. It's like, what? You're slumped over. You're not making eye contact. You're saying you're happy to be doing something and you look like you're ready to take yourself out. Like, no. Make sure that the message matches. Make sure that the body language matches what you're intending. And if it can't match, don't say it, because then you're going to just look like a crazy person. You're going to look a little crazy. Make sure that, and you might have to fake it till you make it sometimes, no doubt. There are times where you have to smile and nod, and you can barely muster up the energy to smile because you're exhausted, and you still have to deliver a message. So you sometimes have to fake it till you make it, but you want to be very mindful of what's the nonverbal energy right now. If I wanted to say anything at all, what is the look on my face? I always watch the videos that I do for you all when I'm done. I find some time to watch the videos through and through just to see my delivery, just to study basically. And I saw a video, it was one of the videos where my daughter was saying something, and as she was talking, and I was like kind of looking at the camera and looking at her, I realized that I have a resting bee face. I won't say the word, but a resting female dog face. I never knew that I had that really, because I don't really watch myself talk for like an hour and 90 minutes. That's not something I've ever really done before. And so I'm thinking, like, if I did that and I was looking like that while she was talking, and I actually was feeling warm and fuzzy inside, my face did not show that. My face, it just looked weird. I'm like, why does my face do that? And so be mindful of like your countenance, basically. Be mindful of that. Sarcasm is definitely, I don't know that sarcasm has any place unless it's really light, to lighten the mood, and it's not like directly about somebody or something that will humiliate someone. But sarcasm usually doesn't have its place in a professional setting. Some people think they're pretty funny and they might take it too far, but you have to be careful with that. No way, not me. Hey, I didn't know that I look like that, because I know when I'm talking and I'm excited about something, I look like this, and I mean, that's pretty decent. But when she was talking, I was like, And I did this thing with my mouth, and I didn't realize that when I'm doing that, that's how I look. Gotta be mindful. If you have to do presentations and you have to watch yourself, um, you want to study and try to like get better with certain things. If I notice that I'm always like doing this or something, I'm gonna make a conscious decision to stop. I talk with my hands a lot, so although I don't want to sit here stiff, I also don't want to be like, I'm rapping in a cipher or something. Like, I just, it has to be balanced. But in order for you to know those things, you would have to see yourself. So, nonverbal communication, very important, very important. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anything out. We talked about verbal, nonverbal. We talked about texting. Something that's a little different than texting, but like doing a letter or a memo or an email. Oh, that's another place where I'm sure there are a lot of people, if they end up seeing this video, they want to know just what I'm talking about. If you get one of my emails where something was not right, either you didn't do your job or you tried to tell me something that was incorrect and your attitude about it wasn't great, or it had major implications for my business and my life, I would compose emails that would tell you about your whole life since you was in your mama womb right up to today. You will be considering your whole life by the time you finish reading my email, if you even get through it, because it will be so jam-packed, da 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 da, with information about what you did wrong and how I know what you did was wrong. It's like, my email. So you have to be careful because that stuff sticks. And there have been emails that I went back and I read later, and I was just like, I didn't need to do all that. I did not need to do all of that. Less is more. What is wrong with you? Like, this is what I'm saying to myself. So be careful when you're doing a memo. Always have, if you, not always, because you don't always have time, but if you can, try to have someone else who's a decent human being read over your memo and ask them, what do you get from this? What's the main point in this? Or how does this come across? And you'll find that somebody might catch something that you weren't even thinking of. Not as far as spelling and that kind of stuff. That's important too, but we're talking about the message you're trying to convey and making sure you're not overwhelming people or making it too long and verbose. So memos, letters, and emails. Gotta be careful with those. Um, Start out with the greeting. Sometimes I would just get right to business in an email. No salutation. You see the subject, you click on it, you open it, and I'm telling you what needs to happen or what's about to happen. No, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. And just to think, like, wow, nobody should have had to tell me I needed to do that. But sometimes when you're in boss mode and you have an agenda and you're trying to, you know, get stuff done, you forget about those little things. You forget about the salutation. You forget about how to end off by saying thank you. I look forward to your response. I eagerly await your response. Thank you for your consideration. Those things really make a difference, believe it or not. They really do. So I think I've covered mostly everything. We're at the 34-minute mark, and I said that I would keep this thing to 20 minutes. So I'm going to open up for Q&A right now. And feel free, anybody that can confirm what I'm talking about. Feel free to tell me about myself right now. If anyone has had the pleasure of receiving a text tirade or a straighten your life out email or a verbal tongue lashing where you didn't get cursed at, but you feel like you have been slapped in the face, I'm perfectly fine with exploring that. I'm telling you all that I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better, and I'm encouraging those of you that are looking to get into a position like this. Don't abuse your power. Be very careful with your communication and consider the human element. Very important. Very, very important. So Q&A, I'm going to wait to see if any questions pop up. Also, excuse me for I'm not dressed up today. Actually, I'm dressed down because I was working hands-on with the filming crew today. So you don't see it, the earrings and the necklace and everything, because I didn't have time. Basically, I didn't have time to do all of that. So I'm not even home right now. I'm actually at the studio. But I did not want to stand you guys up. I wanted to deliver. Y'all know I like to deliver. Sis, what you talking about? Whew, what you talking about? Hey, Derek. Glad to see you back in. Bo Beatty. Live streaming.
Yeah, we saw that.
And let's see, who did I miss? Casanova Jones. I've never seen him tune in before. Let's see. The whole no greeting and email stuff. Subject and directive. My manager does that. If you still work where I think you work, the person that you told me about who was your manager, she sounded a lot like me when you were like explaining to me all of your frustration. Believe it or not, when you have those kind of conversations with me, it's very it's helpful, because while you're sharing something with me about your life, it helps me to look at my own way of doing things. And when you described that woman, it made me think, wow, my little sister's a good person. She has a good work ethic, but even she feels discouraged by this woman who has these standards and this way of like, it's like on one hand you respect her, but on the other hand you're like, I'm miserable. You know, it's like this love-hate relationship. So I think people that are in those positions need to learn to strike a balance. I meant to mention respecting time, respecting the time that you're contacting someone. Is it during their work hours? Are they off and at home? Because just because you're in boss up mode, just because you are running the business and it may be a certain level of commitment you have, you cannot expect everybody else to want to go hard for your business 24/7. So don't text somebody after you know they have clocked out and they're at home. Save it for the next day. I don't know how many times people had to like tell me that, and I just did not take heed. But respecting time, don't send. Now I feel like sending an email is different than texting or calling someone, because I think an email can be composed at any time of the night, and then that person can open it at their leisure. But texting someone after they're off, or like after 8 p.m. on holidays, it's rude. It's actually rude. So do we have any other questions? Actually, that wasn't a question, but do we have any questions or any other statements that people want to make? Don't be a jerk, basically. Don't be a jerk. Yeah, like if you're on vacation, unless what they're contacting you about is vital, like vital to the survival of the business, or it's like linked to some real money, like power moves can't be made unless you answer this question. That type of thing, okay, but really, how often does that really happen? Let people have their time, respect people's time. That just happened to you? It happens to a lot of people. I know someone very close to me who was on a job, still on a job, been on a job for 30 years. And on her off day, her supervisor had an informal text exchange with her that this person thought nothing of. This person was kind enough to respond and reply to her supervisor with her opinions and whatever she had to say. And do you know that the supervisor took that conversation, screenshot it, and showed it to the superiors at work? And that person actually got written up for what was really a casual conversation on her day off. She ended up getting written up. When a person's at home and they're in their environment, they're off, they're not at work, they should be able to take the professional mask down, and most people do. So now if you're contacting them when they're in that element, be ready to get a more casual version of that person. Everybody's not going to do the prim and proper thing 24/7 if you're like always contacting them about something. But I thought that was crazy. She got written up over something, and really the woman had no business even contacting her about what she contacted her for on her day off. Hey, Rock Stack. Yeah, like getting fired on your day off, that kind of stuff. Come on, man. Like, wait until the person gets to work. Don't wait until the person gets off and then contact them or email them a write-up or a suspension notice. Looks like we have a few viewers. So if you all have questions, we talked about communication today. Effective communication. Do's and don'ts. I will be happy to answer questions. But if you all don't have any, that's no problem. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. You have any questions about business or education? Been working on this since high school. Hey, we are who we are. We are who we are at the end of the day, and that's why know who you are, do what you can to make the improvements you want to make, and if you realize that some things you just don't seem to do better with, then don't put yourself in positions that requires that particular skill set. For me, I'll be honest, I don't think I'm a person that really, I don't want to employ people. I mean, I like giving people jobs, but I don't want to supervise people. I don't think that's a strong point of mine. I don't think that's a strong point. And so I know that about myself, and no matter how much I try, once you're getting tired and exhausted and you're working hard, you don't have all that energy to like edit yourself and to change the core of who you are. So that real you, that you usually still will shine through. Let's see, you said saying less and listening more has helped you tremendously. Most times you KMS, especially when I know I have nothing nice to say. Keep your mouth shut. That's what that KMS got you. Well, I'm trying. Editing requires a lot of energy, and that's why it's important to try to be around like-minded people, or people who, everybody's not your people, and so you might not, if you have to constantly edit yourself, you have to consider, are you around the kind of people that get you and that they embrace you, or are you that much of a jerk where it's just, but a lot of times it might be who you're with, like who you're hanging with. Like, for instance, if I'm hanging with people and they don't understand big words, and that's just how I talk, and that's how I've been talking since I was in elementary school, maybe I need to hang around more people that understand those words, instead of frustrating them and me being frustrated. And the older you get, the less patience you have. Absolutely. You're great. Just was stopping by to see what we're talking about today. No question at the moment. Okay. Be around like-minded people. Ding, ding. So, while I'm not letting myself off the hook and saying that, oh, I like who I am, people should just accept me for who I am, and if they can't, then I just find the people that will. I won't let myself off the hook like that. But what I will say is that I'll take note, work on the things I feel I should work on, and make sure I'm getting to a place where I feel that people can receive me the way I intend to be received. Being in the wrong environment can bring out the worst in a person. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. You're not letting yourself off the hook, but you've realized that if you're around the wrong people, you may not be at your best. You may not be at your best. You say I taught you your first big word in 5th grade. That's how you knew you had to level up. What was the word? Do you remember? Was it irrelevant? Was it the word irrelevant? I I kind of remember something like this. I remember actually getting teased about, how I talk. Not just because I had like an accent from Detroit, but because of the words. Let's see, you told me something was irrelevant, and I was like, irrelevant? What? Yeah, irrelevant. I remember that. It's funny. I remember that actually, and it's funny. I guess because my mother was a court reporter, a court stenographer, and I used to listen to her dictate from after she was in court, doing a little shorthand, and she would come home and then she would read her shorthand and record it onto recordings, and it'll be the court proceedings for cases of all types. I think that has something to do with it. Let's see, Lorinda said you were making that face because you were listening. Listening is hard for a lot of people. A lot of people make faces when they're listening. Girl, because I was listening to my daughter, and it's not like I felt aggravated, but I was actually like, my mouth was like frowning. I was like, what is that face? I remember what I was thinking in that moment, and I'm like, is that what I do when I'm always thinking that? Is that how I look when I'm thinking that? Because I feel like I need to check that, because people might get the wrong idea. Hi, Dean. Welcome. Because, yeah, it helped her transfer. I was just listening, go to court with her. And she had, the way she had to read her notes, she would have to say, she would have to also verbalize the punctuation. So she would say, the defendant, I don't know what you're talking about. I was not at the corner of 5th and K Street when the man was shot, period. Question mark. Like, it was so, I think just hearing that, and it sounded like robotic almost and very articulate. I think that kind of is where I got a lot of that from. But I think I like having a good vocabulary. I'm not trying to, like show off when I talk. It's just how I talk. And actually, I talk to my children that way, and now they talk that way. They use words that I'm wondering where they even got them from. I think it's a good thing, actually. I think that, I was teased for being proper. And when you really think about it, growing up in a community where you're teased for being proper, that's very ignorant. It's very ignorant. And it's like, Now you dumbing yourself down just to fit in because you're growing up and going through adolescence and you're trying to fit in. You're trying to fit in. Vocabulary is critical professionally. Depending on what you're doing or what you're trying to accomplish, if you cannot formulate a complete sentence, if you cannot find the words to say what you need to say in an intelligent fashion, it's going to be really hard to be taken seriously. It's going to be really hard, you know, using slang. I mean, I have a couple of presentations. I have my presentation when I'm just with my friends hanging out. I've developed a certain presentation for you guys. You all kind of get a mixture. Then I have a presentation when I'm like, you know, board meeting or presenting something to, you know, my academic peers. Then there's that, and then there's the way that I respond to like someone who's in a position to grade me or rate me, basically. So I have different presentations, and it's on a continuum from ignorant to most proper, and it's kind of like the more casual I am, then it gets towards that end. But when I have to level up when I'm going to this end, and being able to flip that switch is very important. If you can't flip the switch, then you need to learn how to just get on this side of things, because it doesn't really hurt to be on this side of things at all times, unless you're in a community that actually will thrash you because of your vocabulary. Player got to do his taxes. Then you got to do your taxes. Did you look at my how to minimize your taxable income video? If you haven't, check it out. If you don't already know some of the magic that I was teaching in that video, it can be very helpful to people. Let's see. When kids speak well, it is such a bonus. Yeah. Simone prefaced the sentence by saying, in my opinion, you were so impressed. Yeah. Yeah. They are so capable. They're capable of learning multiple languages between like the ages of, I don't know, maybe as young as like 2.5, 3, up to, I'm not sure what the cutoff is, but it's really like those very early years. Children can learn multiple languages, so why would we think that they're not capable of understanding big words? Invest, invest, invest. Yeah, we're gonna do a video where we talk about, we're gonna walk people through getting either an Acorn account or a Robinhood account or a Ameritrade. Those are the three that I'm working with, that I'm learning. And I want to make sure that everybody who did the Boss Up Challenge, they're going to, by the time this is over, the 30-day challenge is over, they're going to own at least one publicly traded stock. At least one of one company. She told me that she can't take her chopstick to school because her teacher would confiscate it. Yep. And I encourage them when they use the words. I say, "Ooh, where'd you learn that word? Oh my gosh, that's nice." You know, and what you're doing is when you're stopping to say things like that, you're really reinforcing, you're positively reinforcing that behavior by giving them praise when they do it, and then they like how they feel when you praise them doing it, and so it makes them want to do it more. Reading is a good way also to get your vocabulary up. Reading is really good. Yeah, gotta be a chameleon. Gotta be a chameleon. Gotta know how to, you know, fit into the room that you're in. If that's your goal, that's not your goal. I don't know why you're in the room to begin with, but if you're in the room, you probably have some type of goal, and you probably should be speaking their language, whatever that room might be. If the room is a room of people, like, I'm not going to go into a room of CEOs, presidents, and businesswomen and start explaining neurological phenomenon. I'm not going to really be talking about that, and if I am talking about it, it's going to be at a level they can understand. I'm also not going to go into a room full of people that don't understand business and start to use a lot of like business terms or assume that people know like what I'm talking about. The other thing too, another way that I have learned to improve my vocabulary is by when you're listening to people, if they say something and you don't know what it means, you can do two things. You can do three things. One, you can just not know what the heck they're talking about and just keep it moving and hope that you can just understand the context. Or you can wait until the conversation is over, made a mental note, now you're going to Google. Or I do this often. I'll say, "What actually? I'm sorry. What does that mean?" I'm humble enough to actually say when I don't know something, and I'm like, "What does that mean exactly?" Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening. You know, like that kind of thing. I'm not ashamed. Then you're trying to focus on yourself, your presentation. Well, Dean, one of the things I was saying before you got in the video, me doing these videos has helped me a lot to see some of the things that I do when I'm communicating that aren't that desirable. I also learned over the past 13 years ways that I was communicating with people that weren't getting my needs met. I was rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And when you want a different result, then you try to figure out how to do things differently. If you're fine with your results, by all means, keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to change, which I came to a conclusion that I did want to make some adjustments. I wanted to make some adjustments so that I could reach people at a different level and have more enriching experiences with people. Because if you can enjoy your interactions better with people, then it makes you actually not mind getting out in the world and doing things with people and collaborating with people, because those are generally the skills that you need to be successful in business. I mean, I know there are a lot of socially awkward people in business, and a lot of times some of the most creative people and genius people, their social skills sometimes are really lacking, and it makes you wonder, is there something going on in the brain where that part was left because more resources went to the part where they're like genius? Because you will see a lot of people that their social skills are off, and they may really, be strong in some other areas. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but I'm going to say hello to Fikao Umoja. Thanks for stopping through. Yeah, so let's be careful about how we communicate. If this was a channel about relationships, what I would be saying would be almost identical. It would be nearly identical. I don't know that I would really say more, say any more, or say any less, because I feel like it's very applicable. People that don't know how to communicate in their personal relationships usually don't have success in their personal relationships. And those people tend to be loners. They tend to be loners. They tend to, you know, not really have long-term friends, or they don't have like a support system. Sometimes when people tell me, well, I don't have anybody, you had a support system. I don't have a support system. And then I'm just thinking, like, you don't have anybody? You have, you don't have anyone? Like, you're living your life day to day, and you have not inspired not one or two people to have your back, or to work with you, or to do something for you. When I hear that from people, I'm not saying that it's always their fault, but when I hear that, I think about, why don't you have a support system? I'm not sure how deep you get in investments, but make sure you definitely teach them about options. I know it's a lot of people doesn't know about that. Well, I'll be honest. I won't be going deep into investments. What I'll be doing is giving like a surface level understanding about the pros and cons of investing, and um, that people teaching people that if you have some money to spare, it's worth a shot to invest in the stock market, with the understanding that you may not be successful or see the return you want as quickly as you want. It's not truly predictable. They see trends and patterns and everything, but it's not really predictable. So I don't like to tell people. I don't like to act like I'm knowledgeable about something that I'm not, and I'll be sure to always let you all know what my level of understanding is when I'm talking about something. Because, whatever you hear from me, be sure to fact check. But I'm not a stockbroker, and I'm just starting to learn about the stock market myself. I've gone ahead and I've put some money into some various things, and I'm playing around with it basically. I noticed that the people that are teaching, like truly teaching about trading and buying stocks and everything, they're charging a lot of money. I saw one class was about, I think it was about $4,000. Yep, and then I was on my way to getting a whole MBA in finance and wealth management. So learning about it and getting knowledgeable about it, I don't think it's something that happens overnight. And that's why people who want to learn need to be ready to pay for that knowledge. I think that certain groups of people have a fear of the stock market. I think I've seen a trend, or I've noticed a trend with minorities sometimes not really trusting the stock market. They may not even really understand what their 401k is, which is the stock market pretty much. They trust it when it's packaged in a way where they're in their comfort zone as an employee. When the boss tells them it's okay, or that this is good for you to do, now it's okay. Because people have that comfort zone when they're employed by someone else. But if someone like myself says it, then it's like, oh, I don't like that stock market stuff. No, I'm not trying that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going. No, I will not save my Starbucks money and put it into the stock market. No, I'm going to pay $5 for a cup of coffee every day and not put that money in the stock market. You're like, okay. Yeah, always a student. You say, you've been doing it for 7 years now. You're pretty sharp with it. Great. Part of this group, I think I said it a long time ago. Like, we're all learning, and I'm a perpetual student. I'm never not a student because I'm always trying to learn things. And when people come into the group, I've already acknowledged that there may be people that come into this group and they know more than me about a certain topic. And this would be the place that you could actually share that information with people, especially if you join the Business Builder Basics group. Now you're starting to network and educate people or, you know, share information basically. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I can see why there's levels to it. You know, like if you're going to do day trading or you're doing like the penny stocks. I mean, I've seen how involved it can get, and it might look complicated, but after you've really like sat down and you've been given the proper instruction, then no, I don't think it's difficult. I don't think it's difficult to um, do well with stocks. Hi, Kim. Thanks for stopping through. You have any questions for Business Builder Basics tonight? We're in our Q&A segment of the video. We're down to about 2 viewers, I think. So if I don't see any more questions or comments, I'm gonna call it a night. But we need to set some goals. Um, the goal, I'll go ahead and give a specific goal again. I'll still let you all make your own goals sometimes, but tonight the specific goal is for you to think about the quality of your communication skills. Where are you with your communication skills? What feedback have you been given by other people, if any? Are you a person who you have very few friends, you have no social support, no support system? You know, think about the quality of your relationships and think about if it's possible that your communication style may be playing a substantial role in those things. That's the goal. I'm trying to inspire you all to try to become more self aware. No, you don't have to spend a lot of money. I mean, you can get started with such a small amount, and if you work that amount the right way, you may never have to put any more in there to really make something happen. Because with the, I guess the concept of like compound interest, you're pretty much making the money make the money, where you don't have to put more in after you've put your money in and you've done things in a way that are working out for you. You may not have to actually take any more of your money, but any money that you do put in, be willing to lose that money. But I don't think that's that bad when you look at the kind of money that people waste on overpriced drinks at the bar or some people's hobbies. Some people have marijuana habits that could be cut down on and they could have some more income. Little things, like I said, instead of the $5 cup of Starbucks coffee every day, maybe you get yourself a coffee maker at home and, you know, save that money and put that in the stock market. The money that you're going up to MGM or Dover with, and you'll blow that money like that. You're willing to put that money in a machine or, you know, on the tables or whatever. I don't gamble, so I don't really know all that you do, but you're ready to put your money in there and lose it within like a minute. So if you can take that, if you can take that kind of high risk, I think that may as well put some money into stocks. Oh, thank you. He said thank you. We appreciate that. Continue to inspire us all, Black Queen. I'm really trying, but I'm here. You guys are my accountability partners. So I'm trying to grow in this process. I'm trying to blossom, right before you all's eyes. And although I can't really see you all, I mean, I hope that you all, those that are following me in the channel, I hope that you're learning some things that are helpful. But that's what I'm here to do. I want to inspire. I want to inspire people to boss up, boss up. And if you can't boss up in business, at least boss up in your own life. Be the boss of your own life. Start with that. Be the CEO of your life. Be the CEO of your household. Start with that. Boss up in that way. And that's good practice because a lot of those principles apply to business. Hi, Amani. Welcome. Thanks for stopping through. You have any questions for me? I really enjoy the live streaming. It doesn't feel like work at all. I think it's really cool actually because I get to converse with people um, when otherwise I just would have been home or doing something else. Yep, at least boss up in your own life. Because if you can't boss up in your own life. Trying to jump ahead to business is not going to work. And that goes back to the video I did called "Get Your Mind Right First, then get to the money." If your mind isn't right, if you're not the boss of your life, it's very difficult to make things pop in business. It can be very slow. It can be a slow, hard way to success. Very slow and grueling if you're not bossed up in your own life. Because how are you going to be the boss of somebody else and you can't even manage your own life? I think that's very, very important. So I still consider myself a young CEO, one that is still growing and trying to get to the next level. And that's why I really have to really think about the mistakes I made, the things that I did well, the things I did not do well over the past 13 years, and use that to try to do better. Let's see. We're at about a minute and 15. I'm sorry, an hour and 15 minutes. Okay. I don't see any more comments popping up. So we can end with what Rockstack said. At least boss up in life. Boss up in your own life. Boss up, boss up. Okay? Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Business Builder Basics, and join the Facebook group, like the business Facebook page, and share. Please share. You know, a lot of people have been telling me they're so appreciative of the information that I've given. You know, they can't believe that I've been willing to share the, secrets of success, or, like as if it's like a secret. A lot of people have made comments like that, and those very same people won't share my video, you know, may not have subscribed to my page, and it costs them nothing. It costs them nothing to simply hit a subscribe button. If you don't want the notifications, you can set it so you don't get the notifications, but the subscribership, that's the part where I don't have to charge the audience for this information. If I have enough of a following, then these huge conglomerates can pay me. They can pay me a little something. I can monetize on YouTube. I can monetize on Facebook. And that way I can continue delivering $1 million worth of game for free. Basically free consultation services. So please show some support. It's just a subscribe. It's just hitting the button. It's just sharing, because it's good information to share with people. I really don't think I'm saying anything that's going to hurt anybody or misguide someone entirely. So please show some support and boss up. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Good night to you all.